Do you really believe a gas generator will save you during a prolonged blackout? That is a beginner's mistake. Your fuel will run out in less than a week, and the roar of that engine will attract unwanted guests from over half a mile away. Or perhaps you think a cheap hand-crank dynamo bought online is your ticket to autonomy. Most likely, it will fall apart on the third turn of its fragile plastic handle. We are not here to talk about heavy toys or the empty fantasies of armchair survivalists. We will speak exclusively about what you can carry in a backpack and what actually works under pressure. At the end of this protocol, I will reveal an object that weighs only 15 grams. Without it, your entire expensive charging system is a blind lottery that could ruin your batteries at the most critical moment. The energy buffer and the chemistry of cold. The foundation of any portable electrical system is the buffer. Energy sources in nature are unstable by definition, so attempting to charge a device directly from an irregular source is a technical error. Forget about cheap plastic power banks. Your goal must be lithium iron phosphate, chemistry, or high-quality cells. You must choose a real and honest capacity of between 20,000 and 30,000 milliamp hours. The weight of such a unit ranges between 400 and 600 grams, with a volume of approximately 0.4 liters. Carrying more capacity makes no sense if you are moving on foot. You simply cannot carry that dead weight for miles. The optimum volume should be between 74 and 111 watt-hours. The device's body must be strictly made of anodized aluminum or impact-resistant polycarbonate, and it is mandatory that it supports the power delivery protocol of at least 60 watts for both input and output. Cheap controllers damage cells with uneven loads. Therefore, always look for devices with cell balancers. Physics cannot be cheated. Lithium-ion loses capacity critically in cold weather. At 14 degrees Fahrenheit, the loss reaches 40%, and at -4 degrees, the chemical reaction simply stops. The only technical solution is to carry your main power bank in an inside pocket of your jacket, as close as possible to your body heat. The optimum operating temperature is between 60 and 77 degrees Fahrenheit. If you decide to assemble your own system, you can use 18650 or 21700 format elements. Modularity is key. If your radio runs out, you can take a cell out of your tactical flashlight and replace it. The backpack solar panel myth. There is a myth that a palm-sized panel on your backpack will charge a smartphone. That is a simple marketing trap. For real and effective work, you need a folding monocrystalline panel with a minimum power of 21 watts. A quality unit will weigh between 600 and 800 grams. The efficiency of modern elements is around 22 to 24%, and the coating must be exclusively E-T-F-E film, which allows 95% of light to pass through and does not become opaque under ultraviolet rays. In ideal sun conditions, a 21-watt panel will deliver a maximum of 5 volts and 2.4 amps. However, if the day is cloudy, the power will drop between 5 and 7 times. Buying the panel is only half the job. You must know how to install it. The angle of incidence of the rays must be exactly 90 degrees relative to the surface. If you vary that angle by only 15 degrees, you lose 20% of the available power. Forget the idea of charging while walking. The angle changes constantly. The controller enters protection mode, and the charging is interrupted. Deployment requires a stop and a rigid fixation. Also, watch out for shadows. If the panel does not have bypass diodes, a single tree leaf over one segment can deactivate the entire circuit due to the series connection. A layer of dust reduces power by another 10%. Clean the elements every day without fail. Dynamos and thermal generators. Most hand-crank dynamos are ineffective solutions for civilian use. Plastic gears usually wear out in less than 2 hours of intensive use. If you choose this path, look for military models with a metal reducer and a brushless motor, where the copper windings are protected against moisture. The operating power should be between 20 and 30 watts, with a weight of at least 800 grams. To get the promised watts, you will have to turn the crank at a speed of between 90 and 120 revolutions per minute. After 15 minutes, your muscles will fill with lactic acid, and you will be unable to continue. The dynamo is a tool of last resort, so useful only to give a boost charge to a completely dead radio battery for a single short communication session. On the other hand, there are thermoelectric generators that work by temperature difference. Imagine a pot over a fire. The bottom is at 750 degrees Fahrenheit, while the water inside is at 212. That difference generates current. The advantage is that it works at night, in the rain, or in winter. The disadvantage is its massive weight, between 500 and 1,000 grams, and very low efficiency. The output power rarely exceeds 5 watts. It is enough for a headlamp, but not for a powerful radio, and it only makes sense if you have a fixed base with an unlimited supply of wood. For a mobile group, it is simply dead weight, cables and connectors, the system's artery. Do not drag unnecessary weight, but do not skimp on the essentials. You can have a 100-watt solar panel, but a $5 cable will ruin the entire system. The problem lies in the cross-section of the copper wires and their electrical resistance. Choose cables with an AWG-20 standard, or thicker, with a dense nylon outer braid. Connectors must be one piece, with no slack. Gold-plated contacts are not a luxury, but real protection against corrosion in humid environments. The cable length must be strictly up to 3 feet. The longer the cable, the greater the voltage drop, and the energy simply will not reach the device in the required volume. Keep Type-C connectors perfectly clean. The smallest speck of sand or moisture will cause a short circuit and burn the port. You must carry at least 3 spare cables in airtight or vacuum packaging. A cable failure means the total failure of your electronics. Unification and voltages. Having a collection of different battery formats will paralyze your actions in an emergency. You cannot afford to carry 5 different chargers. Unify all your critical equipment into 2 formats. The first, lithium-ion, 18650, for powerful lighting and communications. The second, AA or AAA batteries for small electronics like dosimeters or navigators. For the AA format, use high-quality nickel metal hydride batteries, which hold their charge for years and do not degrade in the cold as quickly as lithium. For extreme cold, use primary lithium batteries, which function down to -40 degrees and can be stored for 20 years. Although they are single-use, your kit must include a compact USB charger, capable of charging both lithium and nickel in the same slot. Unification saves weight and time. Sometimes you will need to power a 12-volt device, like a car radio, from a 5-volt power bank. For this, step-up cables with integrated chips are used, weighing barely 15 grams. Remember Ohm's law. As you increase the voltage, the current intensity decreases, and you will lose about 15% of energy as heat in the converter. Never carry AC inverters for 110 or 220 volts in a backpack. They are heavy, inefficient, and lose up to 30% of energy in the conversion. All your equipment should originally operate on 5 or 12 volts DC. Recovery energy and regulations. If you lose your gear, remember that a city without light is an energy warehouse. Abandoned laptops, cordless screwdrivers, and electric scooters contain dozens of 18650 cells inside. You will need a multi-tool to open the casings and basic knowledge of polarity. Work with extreme caution. Piercing a lithium battery with a knife causes a thermal reaction of over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit and toxic gases. You can also resort to lead-acid batteries from abandoned cars. A standard 60 amp-hour battery contains more than 700 watt-hours of energy. You will only need an adapter and jumper cables with clamps. But none of this matters without a strict energy regulation. The charging priority is always: first, critical equipment like communications and navigation. Second, tactical lighting. Third, medical devices. Smartphones for leisure are not charged. On the radio, remember that transmitting consumes 10 times more energy than receiving. Listen more. Talk less. The 15-gram secret. Let's return to the initial revelation. That 15-gram object is a USB voltage and current tester. It connects between your solar panel and your device to show you real values in real time. Without it, you are blind. You won't know if your panel has caught the sun's focus or if your cable has broken internally. You could be sitting for hours under the sun and not receive even 1% of charge without knowing it. Any equipment is just a piece of plastic if you don't understand the physics behind it. Your task now is to go out on a cloudy day with your panel and cables and try to charge your phone only 10%. Measure the time and analyze the results. Invest in knowledge and train your skills. If this technical analysis was useful for your prep, subscribe, hit like, and tell us in the comments what energy gear you carry in your pack. Stay rational. See you in the next one.